But to this story now, Police Minister Kaylynn says the backlog in DNA processing has been reduced to 71,000 cases. This is significantly down from the 241,000 recorded during the first quarter of 2021-2022. Government officials gave an update yesterday on the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence. For reaction to this, we're now joined by Kaylynn Palm from Action Society. Kaylynn, good morning and thank you very much for your time. Just a look at these particular numbers. What's your take on that 30% reduction?
Good morning, and thank you for having me today. We're saying that it's all good and well that there's been a significant reduction in the DNA backlog. However, we are not at zero yet. And obviously that is our concern. We know that now currently standing at 71,000 at the backlog currently, and that is our concern. We know that Becky clearly said earlier this year that the backlog will be reduced, in fact will be cleared in 6 months. I mean, 6 months have come, 6 months have gone, and we're still not being cleared yet. So it's still a concern for us, and as Action Society, we are saying that we are tired, and we are tired of Becky Clearly's empty promises.
Then to the Minister's address yesterday in eNCA, we just want your reaction to this. I listened to him commit that the TRT would be deployed and only withdrawn once the community had rid itself of the criminal elements. Is it as easy as he purports it to be, that a community, you bring in the TRT, once they leave, there's no criminal elements anymore? Is it really that simple? Or they would return to regular programming once the TRT has left?
Well, we obviously welcome the fact that more TRT units are on the ground. I mean, any boots on the ground is helpful. However, we are saying that areas like on the Cape Flats, in Cape Town, in the Western Cape, more policemen are needed on the ground. And we're just saying that while we are welcoming the fact that there are more boots in the ground, we're just saying that more is needed. We look at the army back then, when the army was brought in the Western Cape, on the Cape Flats. I mean, they came, crime was reduced, and then they left again, and crime just shot up again. So we are hoping that this is a sort of sustainable solution going forward.
But if we look broadly at efforts to reduce crime in communities, many would say often that a lasting solution can only be found if communities themselves work hand in hand with the police. Have you found that to yield the positive results when they work together?
Absolutely. I mean, it is critical that community organizations like the CPF, like the Neighborhood Watch, work together with police in order to eradicate crime. And we see that with the Neighborhood Watches in Mitchell's Plain, where we work in, where if police and the Neighborhood Watch work together, they do see the thugs off the ground. So we are encouraging that policemen work together and work harder with community members and communicate with them in order for crime to be reduced. We just hope that it will be sustainable yet again.
Has the communication, though, been there with most of these communities? Because it seems that trust is lost with most police stations, and you have police officers on the other end saying that, you know what, the only reason we're not responding on time to crime is because we actually just lack the resources. There would be 1 or 2 vans that are out, and there's nothing that can be done.
You are absolutely correct when you say that. And I mean, this has been a long-standing issue. We look, and I speak about the Western Cape because I work within the Western Cape and Cape Town, Cape Flats area. We see that when we speak to people, they say that they call the police and then they wait up to 5, 6, 7, 8 hours for police to pitch up to address the criminal matter at hand. So this is just one of the concerns. I mean, we've gone to police stations where there is a shortage of vans to actually reach people when they're needed for any crime crime matter. So these are just a small, not small, but these are just some of the issues or some of the factors that prevent our crime statistics from going down, shortages and other matters such as attending to crime on the ground.
Does it not lower morale, though, of police, where they also might feel that they're set up for failure in most instances, because the perception is that they don't care, that possibly when you call and ask them to come to a crime scene, they're probably just sitting there playing on their phones or something, when really they're desperately wanting to come to the scene but awaiting a colleague to return with a car? Are they not being set up for failure themselves here?
Absolutely, and you said it. You said it absolutely right. And if you look at areas like Khayelitsha and Mitchell's Plain, you see in the mornings, in the early hours of the mornings, people are already queuing to report a crime, and it takes quite a long time for you to actually get to the desk to now explain to the cop what exactly happened to you, and then it's that waiting period that you now have to wait for. I mean, so it's that, number one. Number two, like you said, they have to wait for vehicles. I mean, this is something that we've been raising over and over again, that police have to wait for vehicles, patrol vehicles, to come in order for them to go out and investigate. So you're right. Some have been set up for failure, unfortunately.
If I just had to get your reaction to this particular incident that many have seen, which is in Gauteng here, when we speak of what happened in Ennerdale, where you have people being shot at and robbed of chicken feet. In that particular instance, it seems as though the criminals would have studied the South African police force's inadequacies, so to say, or shortcomings, because you have criminals that left the scene but were brave enough to come back to the scene and now kill people this time around. But they were quite comfortable to do that, knowing that the response time of police is going to be very long, so they can go back and just do further damage. What do you make of just that alone? Because one would say that is indicative of a very broken system, and criminals know of this.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And up until we sort of try and work through the management of SAPs and of those that's not doing their job at management level, and that obviously, if the top isn't right, how do you expect people on the ground, working on the ground, to do the correct thing and to respond in a proper way? So I just think that if management is strengthened, I think that everything below that will work.